Hey everyone, I'm Dani Fernandez, and this is another episode of Sonic Weekly. We're just getting started, and I gotta go fast.
Wow.
You made it. You made it. You made it. You made it to the show. It's Sonic Weekly. Sonic Weekly. Sonic Weekly is the name of the show. Hey, yeah, welcome back. Grant is me. Got a great show for you this week. Lots to talk about. Lots of Sonic every week. That's what this show is. We're talking about Sonic every week, except this week where we're kind of talking about Sonic. Bo's out, Smoovies is out, but out of the shadows and into the spotlight is the star of the show. It's David the Lurker with me. Hi, David.
Oh, hi, Grant. That's right. We are Boless, which means
No Bo.
no Bo. It's like you're out. You're on the rapids, right?
Smoovies, he's at the movies. Bo, he's on the go.
Right. Like you're. Oh, I was gonna make a joke, right? It's an
don't do
oar,
that.
not a bow. A bow is a part of a.
Yeah. Oh, I see.
My analogies are
little
all
boat
over the
humor.
place. I was trying to do some boat humor. I've only been on a boat a couple times, though.
That's great.
Yeah, I know this is exciting, right? Me talking about how I had an aunt who owned a boat on a lake, and we would go out there, and I think she was like, "Oh, did you know Kid Rock lives in that house?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but you don't know him.
Oh, wow.
Just because you can sometimes see his house.
Wow.
People. Yeah, it doesn't matter."
One thing they say about Kid Rock, a lot of things they say.
They do.
One is that his name is Robert Ritchie, right?
I don't know,
or something like that. It's something.
Yes,
the point is, it doesn't matter. We're not here to talk about Kid Rock. We are talking about various rocks and stones. But very excited to have our guest joining us this week. She is a very talented comedian, actress, writer, and has appeared in a movie with Sonic the Hedgehog.
Wild.
Being that she was in Wreck-It Ralph 2, it's Dani Fernandez. Hi, Dani.
Hi. Yeah, so I guess like me, Dani Fernandez knows Sonic. I also do know Roger Craig Smith, who is the voice of Sonic in that movie. I had him on my podcast, my old podcast I had with Ify Wadiwe, and I saw him at the premiere. So yeah.
Wow.
I forgot that he was in that. I forgot Sonic and I'm glad you pulled that out. Totally. There's a lot of people in that.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, just including Sonic and you. And
just,
I mean, lots of characters.
Right. I don't know who else is in that.
He falls into the internet, so he runs into a lot of people.
Sure.
That you would find in the internet. So, but yeah, does that make Sonic a Disney? Is Sonic No, he's like Paramount.
Sonic's not Disney. Yeah. Right. Which is now Skydance.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. But that's funny. I wonder if they did like you remember when Donald was in Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Oh no, when Daffy was in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, it's like he had to have the same amount of screen time. So I wonder how much. That's where my head went.
Yeah.
How much screen time was Sonic? I can't remember.
Right. I thought it was very specific about Bugs and Mickey. Like they had to have the exact same amount of screen time.
Oh.
But there is a Donald and Daffy while they're going back and forth. They're doing the piano. Yeah. But I think it wasn't as rigid, where it was like it has to be the exact same amount of frames for Mickey and Bugs. And then I remember someone a while ago went through and went, "Oh, actually, Bugs Bunny has one more frame."
That's crazy. I thought it was always just the ducks.
No, I thought it was like the main guys, because they represent brands that have been traded about forever.
And eventually they'll all be the same company.
That's right.
Yes. We're headed towards fascism, everybody.
Disney Brothers.
What? No.
Anyway, they could have called it if Walton. Was Roy the brother or was Roy a cousin? Oh no, I'm getting confused.
Okay, so back to the show. So I've been lucky to know Dani for a little while, and I've always known you that among other things, you're a huge fan of Dragon Ball, the franchise, and I think you put it out on Twitter of like, I just want to like express my love for this more after the passing of
Akira Toriyama.
Toriyama, and Sonic obviously takes a lot from the Dragon Ball franchise. Also, among other things like Star Wars. David and I are both kind of like, we don't know anything about. We haven't really gone down.
I know a little bit.
You know a little bit.
I know more than you. When I was sitting...
Fine.
Right, because before the show, I was sitting here, I was like, what do I actually know about Dragon Ball? And then I was having these flashbacks of like, oh yeah, I remember going online, and for some reason I was really obsessed with the Dragon Ball Uncensored website.
Oh,
existed
yeah.
in like and having a moment where the guy who ran it was like, I'm shutting it down, and frantically downloading the entire website before it went off the internet, went offline. It was very visceral memory. So there was a period of time where I was a bit more like, I was paying attention to Dragon Ball, but at some point I drifted away. So I never finished Z, but I guess I did watch a fair more amount than I thought.
Grant, you don't know your founding fathers? I mean...
Well, how is it the other way around with you, Dani? Like with Sonic, mm-hmm. you're aware of Sonic. You're mm-hmm. like, oh yeah, I've rubbed shoulders with Sonic.
Yeah.
Elbows, not shoulders. Elbows is right.
Yeah, the daycare that my parents dropped us off at when they would go and work out had a Sega Genesis. So that's what I remember of playing Sonic in the 90s. And then I don't think we owned one. We had an N64. Nice. We were a one console family. We also didn't have a pool. What I'm saying is we were poor. Yeah. And it was like the kids that had a pool, they were rich. The kids that had multiple consoles, they were rich. So we had one console and it was N64. But yeah, but I remember when they would drop us off at daycare, there was a Sega Genesis and that's where I played Sonic. And then I know from the film, I know Lee, he plays Agent Stone? Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
he's so talented.
He's so funny.
Yeah, so funny.
Honestly, one of my favorite parts. So that's my Venn diagram of Sonic. I don't play any of the games. I haven't kept up with it.
Great.
But I think the reason why you and I talked is I got like, I don't want to say like, yes, I put out there like, oh, I just want to talk about DBZ because I love it so much and I just watch it in my free time, even though I've already seen every episode. But I think I was frustrated that we were getting trolled a lot by Sonic fans who kind of were, after Akira Toriyama's passing, that were kind of like acting like DBZ wasn't influential. And I remember my friend Chris Bryant, I have to say my friend Chris Bryant, who's also a stand-up comic, he knows everything about Sonic, loves Sonic. And he was like, they know, Dani, they're just trolling you. I was like, do they? I don't think they know, Chris.
Yeah, I don't necessarily know that they do know.
Okay.
I think there are 10-year-olds among us online.
Sure. Yeah. I don't know if they're on Twitter. I don't know if 10-year-olds are on Twitter.
You'd be surprised. All right. You can lie. 10-year-olds can lie. Of course, when they say they're 50, it's very obvious. But well, because like Sonic the Hedgehog 2, I guess was the first game that really wore the influence of Toriyama of Dragon Ball Z because of Supersonic. But when that game came out, no one, like, I wouldn't have known what Dragon Ball was. Like, I guess like Goku turning Super Saiyan anyway. What was that? It was like in 91 in the manga or something. I don't remember exactly, but it was so fresh that even in those early days where they were trying to figure out how can we play Dragon Ball in the US, there was no point of reference. There was nothing. And so it's only way after the fact that anyone would go, oh wait, they both are yellow and they have the pointy hair. Does that mean anything? I mean, I also didn't have like the Death Egg Death Star connection click in my mind until way after, when I was like, oh yeah, Star Wars. I guess Sonic stole that.
It's an homage.
I also think it's okay. I also think like a part of it's fine. You know, they all kind of like feed into each other. I don't know. I'm sure Cable and Trunks get compared a lot. And I'm sure Cable came before Trunks. I don't know. I'm sure because he's like in comics. So
Cable, the X-Man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he came back, right? And
yeah. Right.
Right. He is from the
future.
But was that before
was it?
And Silver the Hedgehog is the Trunks.
Silver, yes. Yeah.
He's a kid from the future.
He is a kid from the...
who comes back.
I mean, they didn't... In the... right, because there was the leaked script from the game he's from. In the little bio, it just says straight up, just think Trunks from Dragon Ball Z. They didn't say that in the advertising, but inside they're like, look, we know who this is. Let's not pretend.
Yeah. But I think like, game makers, filmmakers, like everybody kind of, J.J. Abrams talks about how much George Lucas inspired him. Like that's normal to me. I think the only thing that bothers me is when you act like when you're not honoring that. That's what I find weird.
Yeah.
And kind of like disrespectful to Toriyama's legacy. I mean, the man was like a genius. His world building was insane.
Yeah. I think it's pretty impossible to argue like, oh, he didn't influence anything. He definitely didn't influence. Well, we talk about Sonic because that's the name of the show, but yeah, there's just so much that just informs modern animation and live action.
But even outside of like the broad, wide-ranging like influence specific to Sonic, it's like 1-to-1. Like there's a lot of like matchups of like there's 7 Dragon Balls, right?
Right. Yeah.
And 7 Chaos Emeralds.
Yeah.
Like it's like the Death Egg, the Death Star, but it's not. It doesn't necessarily recreate the Force or the Imperial politic structure of Star Wars. It's definitely taking more from Dragon Ball. So yeah, I think with the fandom, like for mostly what I saw on my feeds were the respectful Sonic fans who were paying homage to Toriyama and acknowledging the influence. Although I don't recall, but I don't think you saw official Sega outlets acknowledging it.
Or official Sonic.
Yeah.
No.
It was like the artists did. The Sonic
artists did.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yes. Right, because Yamaguchi, the creator of Tails, he was very prominent in like, the dynamic between Sonic and Tails was inspired directly from Piccolo and Gohan. Which I don't think had ever been mentioned before. But I mean, it makes complete and total sense when you see that dynamic working. And because it wasn't just Oshima, the guy who created Sonic.
Oh, you know what? I was watching Blue Eyed Samurai, and there's a very Trunks, which people who know Dragon Ball Z know what I'm talking about, where he slices Frieza, and Frieza's vision starts to change, like his head starts to slide off part of his body, and they had that in Blue Eyed Samurai. And so I went to I know a couple people that worked on it, and one of them is a friend at Netflix, and I was like, "Oh, that's from Dragon Ball Z, isn't that from Dragon Ball Z?" And he was like, "Yeah, it is." And then when we went to go talk to Michael Green, it was like at a screening of it, he was like, "Oh, no, I don't think so." But in my head, it was like, oh, well, even though you like created the show, the animators might have slid this in. There's so many animators, like, and they're putting, same with what I was going to say about Cable, the Deadpool, one of Deadpool's moments he had hope, like hope was written somewhere, and that's on Trunks's. They both came back, from the future, and that was on Trunks's time machine, was hope with like these exclamation points. I'm like, whoever did the set dressing did that on purpose, because that's a very specific way that it's written like that. So I don't know. But yeah, so there's so many hands involved in it that you never know, like, oh, one of my artists added this, one of my animators added this in it.
Yeah, definitely. Like these are big collaborative things. And like as fans, like we're often to like putting a lot of the praise or responsibility on, like we talk about like the directors and like the high level people, but there's a lot of hands that go into it. But I think it's appropriate with I mean, I don't really know about Dragon Ball, but my sense of though with like manga artists though is it is actually more just one person.
Oh, you mean like, yeah, of course. I mean, now I don't know, Akira Toriyama, it was oh my gosh, I'm blanking on his name, but I don't think he was inking his stuff anymore. I think he was contributing somewhat to the story. But yeah, you're right. Normally when you're kicking off, like he was the one doing Dragon Ball, and there's one creator for One Piece and like all of those. And then eventually, but it spurs out into other things. But yeah. Yeah, he was the one that was like writing and inking and doing all of that on the original manga.
Right. It's very much just like creator focused. And I guess maybe that is something that seems unique when it comes to just like, oh, here's a manga, here's a comic, that it's just one person's vision and it gets to become the biggest thing in the world. While there's so many, there's a lot of superhero comics out there from the West, and unfortunately it's not just, you don't really get like, here's a mainstream superhero where it's just one person basically getting to do whatever they want until they're done. Sometimes it happens, but I mean, it is sort of that collaborative nature, which is not a bad thing. It's just a different way of doing it. I don't want to put it down because I'm obsessed with superheroes, but like it is the different ways of going about it, which makes manga unique, which makes Dragon Ball just feel that much more special because it is just one person basically doing it from beginning to end.
That is my sense of it, like not knowing any better. I mean, like is that it's Toriyama being, you know, a genius and like a multi-talented person that can do a lot of things, and whereas Sonic has always been kind of committee driven. You know, the original Sonic team is still, even at its core, it's still 3 people. But even that is being like reductive. Like there's other people that are not acknowledged in that.
Right.
But usually it's like Yuji Naka, Naoto Oshima, and
Hirokazu Yasuhara. Yeah.
Hirokazu Yasuhara as the character, physics and level design architects.
Right. They come together, they make a game, and then they split up. And
never again. While
there are people in charge, Sonic has never been just the vision of one person. It's always been, yes, shared, even if it in its primordial state. It's always been a collaborative effort.
So it's kind of like, I don't know if I think this, but I can articulate the thought that, you know, Sonic is grafting the art from a singular vision and just taking it and putting it into a Five Nights at Freddy's husk of a corporate mascot to terrorize children and brainwash them, which is there in place of like real art.
I don't know. Oh my God. You lead this Sonic podcast and you're like, no, I feel like they're inspired. I feel like they're inspired.
That's it.
Yeah. No, it's they wear their influences on their sleeve, but that's because art throughout the history of humanity has been building upon. It's always one piece of art building upon another. Nothing's created in a vacuum.
Sure. So standing on the shoulders of giants. Yeah. No, like I said, I don't agree with I'm just saying.
I don't think we should say like, oh, Sonic's corporate slop, because then I feel like we have to question our own existence running a Sonic podcast for so long. But
yeah.
But I mean, if you want to have a midlife crisis right now, we can do it. We can start.
No, I've just, you know, I'm feverish, David. I've been ill. Okay. But no, Sonic is you know, the beauty of the collaborative like angle of it is that Sonic sort of feels like it belongs to everybody, if it kind of belongs to maybe nobody in particular. So each different vision is kind of
we all own
justified.
One share of Sonic.
How many? You know, this video came out this week. Sorry to, but just fuck it, you go. Sorry, mine's such a tangent.
Oh well, I was just gonna say, like, how many like of the show? I know there's like a couple of shows. Like, how many episodes do y'all have? You think?
Oh,
you had a guess?
Okay.
Well,
let's see. The Saturday morning show, the original one, that was 26. AOSTH was 66.
Okay.
Underground was 40. Sonic X had 78. Sonic Boom has 104, but those are 11-minute episodes. Right? Is that the right number? What's the show I'm missing? Oh, Prime came out. That's
Prime Boom.
24, or is it 23? Because one of them, it doesn't matter.
Then add 200 plus Archie issues, which are the same.
But I mean, those aren't shows.
Universe.
But then you're getting into a weird.
I was just asking because like your fans are they remind me like of our fans, except for I always feel like we have more material than y'all. But maybe we don't, because Dragon Ball Z is 291 episodes alone. That's Dragon Ball Z. That's not even Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball is like 100 something. And then there's Dragon Ball GT. Then there's Dragon Ball Super. Then we have 13 movies, 2 TV specials. Like there's all this stuff. Yeah. I was like, what are they latching on to?
Right.
Do you think that I always equate Sonic with like the video game, but it seems like a lot of your fans are coming from the shows.
Right. And the comics, which Grant mentioned, like up to when Archie, you know, ended its license, it was the longest running continuous licensed comic book ever, because even things like Star Wars and Star Trek and like they would always end and then start up again back in the day. But Sonic it didn't end until 2016. There are the core games, and those come out every once in a while because it takes a while to make a game, but it's all this auxiliary material that, especially in the 90s, fed the drive to be like invested in Sonic, that it wasn't just here's 6 levels, maybe one day you'll get a sequel, but there is in some sense a continuous narrative, even if all the different versions kind of, contradicted themselves sometimes in very core ways. I always think of Sonic as kind of like the Ninja Turtles, where like there was the original comic and it was a bit darker and it was like, oh, it's a parody but it's mature and it's or whatever, and then there's the 80s show, which is the complete opposite. It's definitely aimed at kids, and then all these different versions sort of come from there. I know there are other versions of Dragon Ball, like Dragon Ball Evolution, the live action movie. I'm sure you love that.
I don't think that we even mention that ever.
Oh, no?
Like, it's not even considered. No, it's not even like, if you were to have like a panel about the history of Dragon Ball, it would never come up. It would never come up. Grant, what was the video that you were talking about?
Okay, so with the comics, do you know about Ken Penders? Have you heard of that name before?
Mm-mm.
So he's kind of like the Toriyama of the Archie Sonic first
sure.
50 issues. No, we have to massively re-edit all of the things that I'm saying. I can't say that thing about the Freddy.
Yeah.
What am I talking about? I gotta take that out.
Ken Penders is a man, right? He was the driving force behind most of the first 50. He was also the head writer of the Knuckles spin-off comic that lasted for like 32 issues. He was on the book until 2006, and then was essentially replaced with Ian Flynn, who has been writing the comics ever since, more or less. I mean, there's been a couple other writers, but he's always been there, and also wrote Frontiers, the newest Sonic game, or the newest 3D Sonic game.
The Archie comics were really unique too, in the way that, like David was saying, like there's a lot of different things of Sonic, different interpretations, and Archie was trying to blend the video games with the cartoons, and then it kind of created like a new thing. And then through that, you had voices like Penders and Carl Ballers and Ian Flynn, but particularly Ken Penders, and this video from Matt, YouTuber, we'll put the link in the description, is just sort of, it's the best like telling of the Archie story, right? David, like you watched this video too. Because I feel like people are like, oh, Ken Penders, it's a joke. Look how weird it's, furries, they're all jacking off to Sonic's feet or something.
Oh my God.
Right. There was that Adult Swim tweet that just came out.
Yes, that said Sonic fans are at the 9th circle of hell.
Which, I mean, it's, in some ways, it's hard to argue, but...
Yeah, and we'll take it because Sonic is not usually getting 9s from anybody. So it is a 7 out of 10 franchise.
Except in hell.
But yeah, they put us lower than everybody. They put us lower than like Joe Rogan fans. They put us... I know.
I don't like that.
It was hurtful.
Wait, why? Is it because of how y'all treat people on the internet? Y'all were a little spicy.
There's definitely some bad apples, bad actors,
right? And I mean, there's also, I know some strange fan creations that sort of become infamous on, if you spend too much time online, you're like, oh, I know what that is, and even though I never looked for it, I've seen it on my timeline multiple times because people can't help themselves.
You know what our fandoms do have in common? This we have is overlapping in our Venn diagram is pregnant Sonic and pregnant Goku. There's fandoms of both of them, like a pregnant Goku holding pregnant Sonic.
Oh, right. Isn't and
like a pregnant like there's every iteration and version of that, but there's so much on like DeviantArt or whatever of like pregnant Goku, pregnant Sonic.
Yeah, right, there's that one infamous picture. What's it called? Mistakes into Miracles. Doesn't that have a Dragon Ball character in it?
Oh my God.
Do you know what I'm talking
pregnant
about?
Sonic. No, but I'm Googling pregnant Sonic and Goku just to see how much comes up. It's definitely a thing. Oh my God. There's one of where Super Mario has impregnated Sonic. Oh, I see it. Mistakes into Miracles. Yeah, this is Pan from...
That's Pan, right. I was like, that's
Gohan's daughter.
Yeah, okay.
Carrying, what is this, half Saiyan, half hedgehog?
It kind of looks like the rainbow, what's their name from My Little Pony, right? Is that what that's supposed to be? Like, I guess so Sonic and Pan had a kid, and it's Rainbow Dash, and this happened because of 9/11.
What?
Like,
oh, you're right. 9/11 is happening in the back. Oh my God.
What the hell?
This is there, Grant. I sent you the link.
So see, our fandoms do overlap. This is a very common thing.
Oh my God.
This means I'm online too much.
Maybe you're right.
I'm sorry, I cannot go on a Sonic podcast not bring up pregnant Sonic. Like, there's so much fan art of pregnant Sonic.
There is a lot. There's a
song about pregnant Sonic, which is pretty good. It's a really good song. It's a good song.
I've never heard this song.
You just said, "Oh yeah, there is."
No, I'm saying yes. There's a lot of Sonic pregnant fan art. I didn't know that there was a song.
Oh man, who's it?
I am curious. Yeah, someone did it's photorealistic artwork of Sonic as Goku. So this is horrible, but Sonic has like a human body, like a ripped, like his fur is gone. Like it's just like a ripped Goku body, but Sonic head.
That's terrible.
Well, there you go. This is the best of our fandoms.
The best. It's because it's pregnancy, and pregnancy results in new life, and each franchise has given us new life in existence. Or something.
I think we've established that I know the least of the three of us, right? Like, I don't know at all, but I did find this list. And this list is comparing Sonic characters to Dragon Ball characters.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
And you guys can say if like it's right or if it's not right. And I don't know who the hell half the list is, but some of them I know. Like, okay, so Sonic as Goku, yes, right?
I would say just because his Super Saiyan, the Supersonic Super Saiyan.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's a ton of other things. I mean, other than like Superman and like all the things that every other superhero has, you know?
Right. Like
does that make sense? Yeah,
like
the core superhero.
The core superhero.
Luke Skywalker. Like they all have something about them. But the thing I do think is his Super Saiyan Supersonic. That's why I think they're that character.
Mm-hmm. Also, Sonic has died once, and Goku, well, he's died more than once at this point.
Yeah,
right?
he's died more than once.
Right. Well, although also, technically,
aren't they like optimistic, cheerful types, like with a little bit of attitude. Is Sonic and are they similar person?
No, Sonic has more of an attitude.
Yeah.
Goku's so naive. He was dropped on his head as a baby. Like he literally was dropped on his head. We're not supposed to call him dumb, but I do. He's dumb, but in a cute way. He's like you're like a dumb little brother that grew up. Yeah, no, Sonic fucks. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. Goku, everyone in our fandom, we constantly wonder how he has kids. He seems like he doesn't know how to work that. Yeah. He's confused. I'm not kidding. He thought marriage was food. There's a really funny thing that there's a lot of controversy over that he didn't know what a kiss was. And Vegeta's like, Goku, you're married with kids. It was a play on words, but still the whole fandom, not whole fandom, 50% of the fandom accepted the fact that Goku doesn't know what a kiss is as a full grown man.
Right. And so he probably doesn't even know how he has kids. He's probably just like, oh yeah, there, of course.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting that you say Sonic fucks. I agree. Although I will say that the fandom generally has sort of agreed that he's Ace.
Oh, yeah. Then he is Goku. If he's Ace, he gives off a different vibe, but a lot of our fandom has agreed that Goku is Ace.
Well, when it comes to Sonic, it depends, right? Like AOSTH Sonic, syndicated Sonic, he fucks all the time. He is so horny in that show. As horny as you can be syndicated in the 90s.
Yeah.
Sad AM, yeah, he probably does. Like, he's into Sally, but is Sally, is she going to be like, yeah, let's do it? Or is she going to be like, we'll see where this goes. But Game Sonic, I think modern Game Sonic is probably, like, more Ace, but like original Oshima Sonic creating Sonic 1, when he designed Sonic and showed the design to people he worked with, I guess everyone was like, "Oh, Sonic!" Like, especially his female coworkers, he said, like, they all looked at Sonic and said, "Wow, he's so cute, like a kid." And Oshima was like, "Sonic the Hedgehog is not a kid." So he added concept art,
full-grown man,
right, where he drew this human woman in a red dress named Madonna, and is like, "This is Sonic's girlfriend," basically trying to say Sonic's an adult and Sonic fucks. He's not a cute kid.
Sonic is Roger Rabbit. That's crazy.
That was the original idea. But over the years, aside, like, because even Sonic 06, where people went, "Oh no, Sonic kissed Elise, he kissed a human woman," it's like, well, he didn't. He was technically dead when she kissed him. So, but he does not seem very interested in romance. He's more interested in an adventure, in going out and exploring and see what's there, and hitting Eggman in the face every once in a while.
And chili dogs.
Goku cares about fighting, and that's what we all think is how he has babies. Is Chi-Chi, his wife, was like, "This is a new fighting technique." And he was like, "Great. What is this stuff coming out of me?" He honestly, there's a whole scene where Bulma has a baby and he like doesn't know how babies come out. So yeah, we love him. That's our little guy. Little hump on his head.
Himbo, Ace, main characters that have lots of friends. Okay, Sonic as Goku, Shadow as Vegeta, I think is another one that people tend to agree, but I don't really know why.
Did you see when you sorry.
Well, I guess it's more just in their attitude, right? Like, it's not necessarily that their backstories are identical, are they?
No, and Vegeta's a prince. I think that I heard that did they both sacrifice themselves though?
Yes, at the end of Sonic Adventure 2, he sacrifices himself to save the world. So
Vegeta does do that.
Okay.
Vegeta does do that. And he started out bad. Vegeta started out as a villain. He's constantly in competition with Goku. He does, he's very prideful. Yeah, what I thought you were going to say when you were talking about the video earlier is I saw the Shadow Girl video. Have you seen that? It's like when you're on a date with the Shadow Girl and it's like a girl that's obsessed with Shadow. Have you seen that?
TikTok? Yeah.
Yeah. That's I do love Vegeta that much. I'm just not willing to put that all over my car, but I am obsessed with him. Yeah, I guess they don't have similar backstories, but their attitude probably, and them being the anti-hero and kind of trying to like one up the main character.
That makes sense. Yes, same roles, not same history.
Okay. Would it make sense for Goku and Vegeta to have a Goku X Vegeta Generations video game like Sonic and Shadow are doing?
Oh, you mean just have like the two of them?
Yeah.
That's kind of how, not the last film, but that's kind of how like Broly, the Broly film was just Goku and Vegeta. Yeah, I mean that's who I have tattooed on me.
Really?
That's our duo. That's it. Yeah, see, but I don't equate Sonic and Shadow. I always think of like Sonic and Tails or
Sonic and Knuckles maybe.
Right. Sonic and Knuckles. Goku and Vegeta are like, that's their, I guess, Captain America and Iron Man, or Batman and Superman, the dark and the light. Like they're always together. You cannot get them. Yeah, you can't get them without each other. Vegeta might actually hate Goku. We're not entirely sure anymore. I think he respects him a lot, but they're always together. You can't separate them now. People would not be happy.
Is there any Dragon Ball media where adult Goku teams up with Kid Goku?
No, I mean, there's multiple times he's been turned into a kid, including we have a new series coming out, Dragon Ball Daima, which I'm really excited about.
Right.
He turns into a kid in that, and he turns into a kid in Dragon Ball GT, and he's a kid in Dragon Ball.
Right.
So there's multiple times he's been a kid. There's only one time Future Trunks took him to the past, and he saw his little self. And he went over, Trunks was like, "Don't touch anything. You can't touch anything. You can't do anything because you're going to change the past." And Goku goes over his little self like, "Hey, kid." And the kid's like, "What? Who is that guy?" That's all we have. It's like a really small moment of him being dumb. That's probably why he died multiple times. He affected his timeline.
Okay.
But yeah, we don't see him team up.
With himself.
I don't think with himself. Yeah, he doesn't do that.
Right, because that is the other half of Sonic Generations. Modern and classic, team up and hang out. And and do a game.
Yeah, but he keeps turning little, which I get it because it's like a nostalgic thing. It's
Right.
honestly very fascinating that people are like,
right. So the new show, like
uh-huh,
Toriyama was involved with that
yeah,
somewhat before he passed, right?
yes.
So, right, because I remember reading about it, like especially I didn't realize it was coming out or that they were working on it until he died, and they're like, oh yeah, there is something after Super, because I haven't sat down and watched Super. It was one. It's like it was exciting when it came out, but I just never actually get around to sitting
Mhm.
and watching it because I've never been a Dragon Ball
Right. Yeah.
diehard, but I did when I heard that I thought it was funny, like, oh, they're doing the kid thing again, which is what GT was, and like,
Mhm.
is that? I mean, do we know like the reason behind that? Was it, oh yeah, like let's just do GT, but right? Because I know a lot of people don't like
Mhm.
GT. Like,
Yeah, well, GT was just Goku little. This is they turned everybody little, so it's Muppet Babies. It's Muppet
okay,
Babies. Yeah, it's everybody. Almost everybody. So, it's not just Goku. We get to see Vegeta little, which I think is really fucking funny and what we all like what I personally wanted. Um, Second, it's the 40th anniversary of Dragon Ball. I think a
hmm
lot of my fandom is forgetting this.
Hmm.
It's like in honor, I wanna say, or like, it's kinda like a nod to it. It makes sense he's going back to his roots. So, it's not that they're not gonna have more Dragon Ball Super, they are. This franchise will outlive us. We have a
hmm
Macy's Thanksgiving Day balloon, which I wanna say was a big deal because 'cause I'm sure y'all have had yours probably for a while. When we got ours, I was like, "Oh, we made it. This is mainstream." And that's why when Luffy got his last year, I was so happy for them because I was like, "You're in. You passed. Like you moved, and for those of us that grew up watching our stuff, well, they weren't even on Toonami, I want to say, but I grew up watching Dragon Ball Z on Toonami on Cartoon Network. We've been waiting, I feel, for people to kind of give us our respect. And so for how influential it was with Sonic, with Nintendo, that was another thing. When Akira Toriyama passed away, it was like all these Nintendo receipts came out. Like, look at this, that's from Mario. Look at this, like, look at this. They did like, they took this from him and this from him. And I just think that our fans, I love getting anything. I love getting anything Dragon Ball. So I know we're gonna get more Super. They might not call it Super, it might be called something else. Meanwhile, we get to have this little Muppet Babies adventure, which I also think is cute and fun.
I mean, it seems like it'll be fun. I've always been a fan of like Kid Goku because I guess once upon a time when Dragon Ball started airing properly in America, they did the first 13 episodes of Dragon Ball before they jumped to Z. And so when I was a kid, I watched the first 13 episodes and was like really enamored
Mm.
with just that first arc, where he meets Bulma and then there's the whatever goes on and then he turns into the dragon at the end and you cut off or not that he doesn't turn into
The
he
ape?
turns into the ape and then
Yeah.
right and you see the dragon. You're right. And then they just jump straight into Dragon Ball Z. And as a kid, I was always like, huh, I guess that's just how it works. Like you set them up as kids and then you jump to their adults, not knowing anything about like, oh no, Piccolo does get introduced. He's bad. There's a whole thing called the Red Ribbon Army. Do you know what that is? No, you don't need to know what that is. You're going to see Vegeta. But those first 13, I always found incredibly charming, even
Mm.
when I was young. And like I could tell there was a tone shift, but I really just thought, it's what they wanted to do. Who cares?
Yeah, that's how I feel about Daima. I'm like, clearly this is our creator wanted suddenly everyone got real quiet too when he passed away. I was like, "Oh wait, you guys were shitting on this?" And all of a sudden this man said, "This is my last living work."
Right.
And now all of a sudden but I do want to say you can watch Sandland. Sandland was his most recent work that was a manga that was made a long time ago that's on Hulu. And I love it. You can watch that. It has a little demon character that reminds me a lot of Vegeta, but that's the last-ish thing that Akira Toriyama worked on, and then Daima that's coming out.
Okay.
Yeah.
This list says classic Sonic is Goten.
God.
Oh,
Goten.
Goten.
Goten. Goten.
Yeah, Goten. That's Goku's second child, a little like him. Gohan is a scholar, that's his first kid, and also has insane power that he kinda just, like, walked away from to some extent. He's only coming back to it now in our series, but he was, like, at some point, Goku's kid because clearly they were setting up for him to be the next Goku, was the most powerful person in the series. He was more powerful than Goku, who's more powerful than Vegeta, who's the most powerful. And then I think Akira Toriyama realized like it would be like having Sonic without Sonic. He was like, oh, I guess we got to bring Goku because he killed him. He killed Goku. And he was like, now it's Gohan's turn. And everyone was like, where's Goku? Where's my Goku? I need Goku. Right. So then he brought him back, and I don't know if he'll ever leave. Goten's very playful. He's a touch dumb like his dad. I don't know. I hold y'all's Sonic in a higher regard. He just seems like smart and quick and witty, and I don't equate that with Goku or most of the Sun family.
Well, right. I guess I'm also confused by this list because it's saying Sonic's like Goku, but Sonic's also like Goten. Okay.
Listen, I don't know. It says Tails is Gohan and Knuckles is Piccolo.
I've heard that Knuckles is Piccolo. Was Knuckles a former enemy?
Yes.
Yeah. Piccolo was a former enemy. He still kind of got an edge to him.
Right. Yeah, Knuckles, his edge was definitely dulled because Shadow has to be the edgiest. So I guess like if Vegeta is dark and brooding, you can't have Piccolo also
right.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I saw something because Sonic is blue, Tails is orange. And so I saw like in Dragon Ball, Goku is blue, Krillin is orange. Or like Goku's wearing his blue, Krillin's wearing the orange. Like, and I think I had retweeted like a piece of that artwork. But that's where I was like, I see this coloring happening here.
This list is very strange, this one that I'm looking at. It says Eggman is King Kai. Does that track?
Eggman, King Kai. Is he like a powerful jokester?
Eggman's the bad guy.
I thought Eggman is that the same as Dr. Robotnik?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, on my list that you gave me, or one that you sent me, it has Dr. Robotnik and Dr. Gero, which I understand because they're both evil scientists. I do think, isn't Dr. Robotnik, isn't he normally in like some kind of egg little that he moves around in?
Yeah, his Eggmobile.
Yes.
Floating around.
You know who we have that has that? Frieza. Frieza, Goku, one of Goku's biggest villains, and one of the biggest villains in Dragon Ball Z who keeps coming back, has an egg-shaped robot thing that he travels around in. So that I do remember.
Okay. Well, how many times has Frieza died?
A lot.
A lot.
At least 3. I think at least 3.
Huh.
But yeah, that's who I think of when I think of Dr. Robotnik. Here's his. Do you see that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little
yeah, that's similar to y'all's?
Eggman-esque.
Yeah.
That's Frieza?
Yeah, that's Frieza. Yeah.
That's definitely like an Eggmobile.
An Eggmobile.
Does he ever attach things to it so it can attack? No?
No, he doesn't really use it other than to like look like it's his throne that he looks down on you with.
He's so rude. He's looking down on everyone.
Do these influences in Sonic make you more or less interested, or does it not matter at all? Because I don't know for myself. Like, I don't know that I'm more or less interested in Dragon Ball. Like, I've always been kind of interested.
Yeah.
Some of the other Sonic influences I've gotten really into, like Miyazaki movies, like Castle in the Sky. And I watched a little bit of Dragon Ball Z as a kid, just when it was on TV. But I guess, similar to like One Piece or other things like that, maybe it's just like the sheer volume of it seems
so much
overwhelming.
I don't know how you would. Actually, what I was going to say is instead of watching Super, David, you should watch the movies, the Super movies.
Right.
That's what you should do. Because, I mean, or else you're going to have to watch 100-something episodes of Super. Don't let my fandom hear me say this. Like, that's the only way to watch it, Dani. You have to watch it, every single one in order. I'm like, you're talking to grown adults who have like moved on with their lives. I remember I was trying to tell this director who is into other anime was trying to get into DBZ, and I was trying to help him like, you should watch the Saiyan saga when Goku and Vegeta fight. It's my favorite fight. It's like the most iconic fight. And people are like, no, he needs to start. I'm like, this is a grown man who's very successful and he's making your favorite films. He's not going to start there. Please.
Yeah.
Like, let's be real here. But you can talk to me about that shit. I'm like, I've seen it all, us fans. But yeah, the movies are a great cheat. There's so many Dragon Ball movies. Actually, Grant, that's what I would say. The Dragon Ball Z movies are, oh my gosh, they're so iconic. And there's like great fight choreo in them, like really cool animation. And the new Broly one, it's like new, it came out in 2018. But my friend Chris, who I was saying, who's a big Sonic head, he was like, what is like a DB movie I can watch? And I gave him that one and he wrote me back and he was like, this is great. So I like that you can like hop into those.
I should watch that one. I worked on the social media marketing for that movie.
Well, then
but I didn't get a chance to see it. I know.
Watch it this weekend. You'll enjoy it, and just watch it for like it has they're using a different animation style, and it's on. I love it. It reminds me of like Hoth. Like they're in the snow area, so like the wardrobe is different, and like they're fighting in the snow and like running each other's faces against the ice, and like it's just a lot of fun. And there's barely, there's like basically 3 of them that are fighting. So you don't have to pay that. There's other characters, but it's Goku, Vegeta, and Broly.
Which Sonic character is Broly?
Broly, I don't know. I can tell you about Broly and you can tell me which Sonic character it is.
Right. Let's do that.
Broly is
Nazo. Who the fuck is Nazo?
Nazo isn't anyone. Nazo was in that trailer pitch pilot thing for Sonic X. It's just a miscolored Super Sonic. He's not, but somebody did take that drawing and then made the fan animation Nazo Unleashed, where they turned him into a character, and it's a very Dragon Ball Z inspired fan animation.
Interesting.
I'm sorry, Danny. This list is very suspect after the top layer.
Right. Sonic and Dragon Ball, like those fandoms have mixed a lot, I think, in general. Because last week we had Danny 8-Bit on here, and we talked briefly about Super Mario Brothers Z. I mean, that name by itself, it's got a Z. The logo looks like Dragon Ball, and it's just instead of Dragon Ball characters, it's Sonic and Mario, and they're fighting Mecha Sonic, and it's sprite animation, but they want it to be very Dragon Ball-esque in the way it's presented and the way that the fighting is. Like,
but Broly's a major character.
Broly is, right? Yeah. I mean, he comes in here and there. Like he is big, but he's not like Goku and Vegeta big, or even Gohan big, who's Goku's son. But he's definitely sticking around.
Okay.
So he had 2 movies in like the 90s or the early aughts. He had 2 movies that he was in. So he didn't show up in Dragon Ball Z at all. He showed up in these other movies. And then they brought him back for this other movie. And now he's in the Super manga. He's in the manga. So because we need more Saiyans. So that's another thing. They're from an alien race. They're from the Saiyans, Goku and Vegeta. Their planet blew up. Frieza blew it up. And so there's not many of them. They're trying to like procreate and make more of them because you can only go Super Saiyan if you're Saiyan, if you have some Saiyan. So that kind of affects the timelines when no one can go Super Saiyan. So in order to have more Saiyans, they have offspring, and then they have Broly, and they're like throwing other Saiyans, in there. They're trying to get more of them. But anyways, he's a massive jacked character who kind of goes manic. Like he can't control his anger. That's a part of his power. He just loses complete control of it. And he has a lot of other like character defects, but he's also like nice and vulnerable. It's kind of like a gentle giant until he's switched on, and then he's scary.
Gotcha. He's like Chaos, perfect Chaos from Sonic Adventure if he was a hedgehog, David.
There you go.
Okay. He gets angry. He destroys a city.
Yeah, that sounds like Broly.
All right.
But they can't just put him back into a cage.
Like
they have
Hulk.
Okay.
Your turn. Where'd you get this? That's the thing. They're all inspired. They're probably or it's parallel thinking, but like, that's literally the Incredible Hulk. So yeah,
it's all back and forth. They all love each other. I think some fans forget that most creators, I think, just love each other and love the fact that we're all creating things. And we're all enjoying each other's work.
And how exciting is it to like, I remember when in Nope that Jordan Peele has the Kira slide in it. And I remember people writing and being like, oh, I bet he did this on purpose. And I'm like, are we watching the same film? Yes, he did it that's literally like the most iconic. It's in Lilo and Stitch. It's like in every single, anytime someone has a motorcycle, a bicycle, or But it was so funny that people are like, oh, I wonder if he did this on purpose. Yes, he did it on purpose. I can answer that for you.
It's very coincidental. Like, Akira, it's a very indie film, right? No one's ever heard of it. They all love each other. They probably have big kisses. I don't know. That might be. Yeah. You got to be careful, because then we might slide back into talking about pregnant Sonic and pregnant Goku. Because I'm sure somebody had a kiss.
Why is the pregnant? Why?
It's a fetish.
Yeah.
So it's a fetish. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Yeah, I guess that's just like.
Yeah, I mean, didn't you ever watch the film Junior starring Arnold Schwarzenegger?
No, but he's pregnant in that, right?
Yes. Yes, he is. Okay. You know. So if Arnold can get pregnant, I think Goku and Sonic can also get pregnant, right?
Yeah. And live happily ever after.
Yeah. Have a Shrek and everything.
Have a Shrek. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's the other one, pregnant Shrek. Pregnant dragon, the dragon with donkey. That's a whole other side. Sorry.
Next week we're talking about Garfield with Joey Cliff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
he's what he is to Garfield, what I am to DBZ for sure. Yes. He gets sent all the Garfield memes, and I get sent all the DBZ stuff for sure. Yeah,
and there's crossover there, but in a very different way
with Sonic.
Yeah.
Oh,
there.
Sonic and Garfield.
Yeah.
The Sonic and Garfield pack. It's a PC compilation. It's Sonic 3 Knuckles and Garfield caught in the act. And for some reason, somebody went, what if we put those two games together and sell them? You know, probably when you go into Circuit City and you're like, I need to buy toner for my printer and I got to bring my kid. And the kid's like, oh, it's Sonic and Garfield? I guess they're best friends.
Sonic and
Garfield. They're back to back and, they look good together.
Right. As a kid, I feel like a lot of us were obsessed with Garfield for some reason.
Sure.
I know.
Well, it did have the show.
The show was great. But I also remember, like, in elementary school, kids coveting the Garfield comic strip books. Because I think you could order them, like, in the book order stuff. And then, like, a kid would have it. And it'd be like, oh, I want that for some reason. It's like, I guess
a lot of it was the art style, right? Like it was just like the big eyes and like the proportions and like it looked a little cartoonier than
right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I used to love trying to. I think I had an art book, of Garfield. I used to love trying to draw him and those big eyes.
Oh, and the other thing is the shapes, like of Goku's hair and Sonic's head. It's the same 3 triangles.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm glad your eyes have been opened.
Yeah. Okay, so what character... Okay, so if we're going to do a Garfield Dragon Ball comparison, so who's Garfield in Dragon Ball?
Vegeta. Wow. Yeah, because Vegeta hates everything and everyone.
Especially Mondays?
Vegeta would probably hate Mondays, yeah.
John is Goku?
John... Maybe Goku's Odie.
Oh,
Goku is 1,000% Odie for sure. Yeah. That is their dynamic.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, that is 100% their dynamic.
So then who's John?
Probably Bulma, maybe. She's a scientist. She's married to Vegeta. Bulma is one of the first people that Goku meets in Dragon Ball. She is a little scientist, grows up to be a big scientist. She is who I say and tell everyone she's the most important person in the whole entire series. She's the smartest person in the whole entire series. And I think people are finally catching on to that. So without her, the Dragon Ball radar doesn't exist. So you can't collect the Dragon Balls. You wouldn't know where they were. She creates a time machine that Trunks travels in that saves the future. She creates an antidote that saves Goku because he has a heart disease. She calms down Vegeta. She marries him so he doesn't blow up the world. She also created a little Saiyan to keep this offspring going. So there's countless other things she's done, but she's the most important person. Or else Goku would have died he would have died and never came back without her. But yeah, sorry, I have to mention her because
you think John is that important to Garfield?
No, I mean, who else? Who else? I don't know Garfield that well.
Well, I mean, how many Garfield characters? What the veterinarian? There's Nermal.
Yeah. I think it's what you're describing with Bulma and Goku sounds more like a more a relationship with more depth than probably John and Garfield,
or any character in Garfield.
Right.
Or
Because
really,
I'm also sitting here being like, I don't know if there's any Bulma analog in Sonic. I feel like that's not really.
What does
Is
this
there not
list
like a
say?
woman who's like changed the world or something?
There's only a hand.
Rouge is
She doesn't change
Bulma,
the world.
according to this list. Whoa. Well,
I don't.
She's
No.
I mean, she's doesn't.
Inventor,
but
scientist.
No,
she's
I mean,
treasure hunter and spy.
right. So not Bulma is what.
Yeah, it doesn't really sound anything like.
No, because there's Amy Rose, who was like
Mhm.
the Minnie to Sonic's Mickey, but also the Peach to
Gotcha.
Mari. Like
Mhm.
she starts off as damsel in distress, and then
Mhm.
it becomes her own, character with. Even though she still likes Sonic, she has a lot more agency nowadays. And then Rouge is, she's the thief. She's a spy. She's, she will help you out, but she's always in it for herself at the end of the day. She
Mm.
wants jewels. She wants shiny things. So a little Catwoman is sprinkled in there, essentially.
Yeah.
And then other female characters in Sonic. I mean, the auxiliary material. There's Princess Sally. There's Bunny Rabbit. But in the games, it's like, who else do you have? You have Elise, who just stands there and she's not allowed to cry or else the world ends. You have Maria, who gets shot
Oh
immediately.
God.
Yeah.
Bulma
And
doesn't fight. I want to say this. She's never in the fights. She's viewing them. She's a spectator, but she definitely has prepared them for it, but she's not fighting. She's using her brain.
oh, right. I'm sitting here being like, what? There's Blaze. I'm forgetting about Blaze. Blaze the cat, Marine the raccoon, and Wave the swallow are the other three main. Blaze is a princess from an alternate universe or an alternate dimension, whatever word you want to use, who guards the soul emeralds but she's a princess. She's also in charge of a kingdom, but she fights. She's basically she's like Sonic and Knuckles mixed together. So,
But a cat.
But I don't think Bulma or Goku and Piccolo mixed together.
Mm.
I don't know. Maybe Sonic needs a Bulma, is what we're getting at.
If I see a scientist pop up and a female scientist pop up in y'all's thing, then I'll know.
I know, right?
I'll know that they're taking notes. Then I'll know that they're copying us.
Why not? Copy it all.
I mean, at this point,
I think we've proven beyond a reasonable doubt that there is a connection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What else is going on? What else is
right.
Do you have any
what is your most favorite Dragon Ball thing ever?
There you go.
Thing that I own? Or
I mean, it could be a thing you own, or maybe like if there was a very
thing that was,
I don't know. It's the most vague question in the world. You can interpret it however you want.
You mean like something that was made, that's like been Dragon Ball made?
Right. Like a specific arc or episode or character or game, or it could be the statue that you look at every night before you go to bed. I don't know.
The movie Broly, right?
I like my tattoo. A lot of people have copied it. I have noticed that. I saw on Reddit.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, someone put my tattoo, and there was somebody had gotten my tattoo. So I have the silhouettes of Goku and Vegeta, and it's like very specific, like placement. A silhouette of their heads. And I've seen people now copy that a lot, which is kind of like whatever. My favorite arc is the Saiyan arc. My favorite is when Vegeta shows up. It's just, I also equate it to a Western. They're literally in the desert. It's like a standoff. It's a duel. It's very cool. Like all of those elements to it of filmmaking and animation, and they're just tit for tat. Like they're just Goku's never met. He met Saiyan right before this, but he doesn't know where he comes from. He doesn't know he's an alien. So that's kind of crazy to now be battling the prince of your entire race. Mm-hmm. And I think they're just excited because they're a warrior race. So they just want to fight. They just want to test. That's all they want to do is test their limits. So they're excited that they get to test their limits and almost kill each other. So that's my favorite arc. It's the best. And anytime someone's trying to hop in but doesn't have a lot of time, I always point them to that. That's my favorite thing. And then another thing that I own, I mean, I have so much art. I have so much shit everywhere. But one of the things I have is artwork. It's a silhouette of Goku's head, and inside it, I think the artist might have changed his name, but I think it was Kasuk, but he put every single Dragon Ball character in Goku's head, and they're all doing their respective things. So that's crazy. You can go through and see like every single DBZ character in it.
If you were to give Sonic the Blue Savior one more chance, what would your preferred way? Like, would it be watching a thing, playing a thing, reading a thing?
Probably a movie. I know they have the live action movies.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen the OVA?
I haven't seen. No.
I'll send you a link.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're going to watch
it's not officially released.
Oh.
Or it hasn't been officially released since. When was the last time it was officially released? It was like 2000...
When ADV existed. ADV licensed the OVA, and then, they don't exist anymore, so nobody really knows what's going on. There's some sort of legal tangle that's preventing it from being re-released in the West.
But it's like an hour, like not even an hour. It's like 2 episodes of what could have been a series, but it was then marketed as a movie.
Okay.
Here,
right?
Yeah, that's a pretty distilled, it's a good Sonic thing if you just want to spend an hour of your time, and then you'll go, wow, what should I do now? And then shrug your shoulders, be like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You could.
I'll watch Broly.
Read all 290 issues of Archie after that.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, right, yeah.
Well, Dani, thanks for coming and sharing your passion and enthusiasm for Dragon Ball and informing us. And I'm sorry that I'm sorry on behalf of myself and not that David is fine, but I'm just sorry in general. But thank you.
No, it's fine. It's great. I also want to say, like, as much as I've been like, we did this, like, I truly don't. I think it's really exciting. I have an animated show that I base 2 characters off of Vegeta and Bulma because I love them so much. I think that's so normal to do that with the things that you love. So I don't think that it's stealing. I think it's just like, another form of it. And if I get to make a Dragon Ball movie, which I really want to do, I'll put other shit in there too.
Yeah.
Put random, who knows? Maybe there's Star Wars stuff that needs to be in it. So yeah.
Just merge it all together. You could just put Sonic in there. Just Sonic straight up.
That would blow people's minds.
Right. Sonic is in a panel of Dr. Slump, right? Like there is this one single panel.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. I think it's the later one where, because it's like they're kids originally, but then they become adults eventually as well. Is that how it works? Like I haven't read the thing that Sonic's in. It's just there's a panel where Sonic is there and he's like, whoa, because someone's being fast. It's very throwaway. I'm sure it's a thing where like Sega would never dare to sue Toriyama for copyright infringement in this one moment. That would be silly.
Yeah, or Disney apparently. He's a Disney character now, so there you go.
All right, he's part of the Disney. I guess you're a Disney character as well.
He's on Disney Wiki, so he's in
are
there.
you on the Disney Wiki?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Wow.
No.
Right. I mean, that's pretty crazy. Like
and Cinderella. Me, Sonic, and Cinderella. Yeah.
That must have been.
You're canon.
I am canon. Yeah, that's crazy. Disney must own me then.
Right. I mean, right. The fact that it's
me.
It's you. It's not like you're playing somebody. You're playing yourself in the movie. Like, who in Disney, like in the Disney canon,
made that happen?
Yeah.
That would be like, Rich Moore and Phil Johnston, the directors, and they needed him to talk. He falls into the internet, so he meets a real life gamer, real life, like there's other people that are playing themselves in there. I'm not the only one.
Right.
And then they needed a host, like a BuzzFeed knockoff host. And so that was me. And the reason why I play me is because they gave me lines and I was like reading them and I did it a couple of times. And then they're like, how would you say this? I'd be like, hey, it's Dani Fernandez. Welcome to blah. And they were like, just do that. So I did. I was like, hey, it's Dani Fernandez. Well, and that's why I'm playing Dani Fernandez.
Oh, so you made it. You were able to turn it into yourself.
Like, because she was
forced.
It didn't have my name. I mean, it was me.
Right.
Like she looked just like me. In fact, they used an old headshot of mine for her outfit.
Okay.
But the reason why we know that it's literally me is because I say my name. Yeah.
Right. Because it's been a while since I've seen the movie, so I don't remember if anyone else says their real name in it.
Probably, but not a ton. But yeah, there's
Right.
a couple of other gamers and stuff that are in it. So it's exciting, I think, for all of us. And yeah, me and Sonic, I'm gonna
Right.
get pregnant in the sequel. So
Right. He was trying to warn Ralph about the internet. He's like, hey, like he didn't want to say outright because it is a Disney film. He couldn't be like, you're gonna find art of yourself being pregnant. And 9/11 might be involved. So just be careful.
Yeah, the scene where Ralph sees all the horrible comments about him, I was like, this is the realest shit that I've ever seen in my life. This is the realest shit. The internet is not fun, Ralph.
Right. And that's when he decided to break it, and that's why the internet doesn't exist anymore, right? That is what the movie's about, right?
I think it's always about friendship.
Oh, right.
The one theme for movies is friendship.
Yeah.
Dani, you're such a good host too. I was wondering, here's I think how we can get out of this episode.
Okay.
Will you give us like a cold open now that we've done the show?
Yeah.
Do like a coming up on the Disney Channel type of cold open.
Okay.
And then from there, I'll play the outro music and David will close it.
Wait, but what's the official name of this?
Sonic Weekly.
Sonic Weekly. Okay, so you just need that?
Yeah.
Okay.
And okay, so take a moment to, I don't know, write the script in your head. And then
I was saying I could do this on the fly. It's just my dog is coming in right now, but give me one second. Oh, perfect. Hey everyone, I'm Dani Fernandez, and this is another episode of Sonic Weekly. We're just getting started, and I gotta go fast.
Wow.
That's what he says, right?
Yeah. That is what he says.
Okay, fuck it, I did it.
You definitely did do it.
Wow.
That's crazy.
I did it.
And then that'll be and then that's at the beginning of the episode, and then by the time they get to the end of the episode, that's like, oh,
right.
In medias res. It's like, how did I get here?
Right. Well, we could pretend that it wasn't edited, that you just did it exactly the same words, same tone, because you're just that much. You're that professional.
We have to do that so much. We have to do so many throwaways. So, anyways, thanks for having me, and I gotta go fast.
Oh, well, thank you, Dani, for joining. And of course, thank you, the listeners, for journeying through another episode of Sonic Weekly. That's right. If you enjoyed what you heard, if you stumbled across this because you know who Dani is, but you also don't know what Sonic is, and you want to learn just a little bit more about the Blue Blur himself, you could go ahead and subscribe to this podcast on your podcatcher of choice, be that Apple Podcast, be that Spotify, or, we always bring it up, Android users, Podcast Addict. That's a platform. Do it. You can review it. You can rate it. You can review it. You can do all that fun stuff. But if you, for some reason, can't stand any podcatchers at all, we are also on YouTube. That's at Sonic-Weekly, where it also has gameplay footage recorded by friend of the show, Jack of Old Games. It gives you a little something to watch while you listen to us ramble and rave. Yeah, I never bring it up, but we technically have social media. I'm going to bring up the Twitter again, at Sonic Weekly. You can follow us there. You can retweet and like and do whatever people do on social media. You can yell. Don't yell. There's too much yelling. But if you want to reach us directly, send us an email, sonicweeklypodcast@gmail.com. Drop us a line. We do read every email that we get. And that's the only way you can get into our Discord server. Email us, ask for the link. We'll send that bad boy over, and then you can join in and talk to like-minded Sonic the Hedgehog fans. And it's not all just Sonic, but there's a lot of Sonic. You should know that by now. You got to thank Smoovies for the edit. He's the one that makes sure that he's the one who put that intro at the beginning, even though it was recorded at the end. That's editing. That's the magic of editing. Got to thank Bo, even though he's not here, because I'm sure he's doing something. And of course, as always, thank you, Grant, for getting us all together and letting us jam out about Sonic.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Dani.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.